Hello everyone, I'm Grandmaster Denes Boros, and you might be surprised to see this move on the board. Well, that's not really surprising, as most of the time I consider knight c3, d5, bishop f4, aka the Rapport-Jobava system. However, at the time when I was playing this game, I was honoring I am Eric Rosen, who came up with plenty of original and interesting ideas in chess. So I felt like following and emulating his style. Let's see what came out of that. So I played bishop f4, e6, knight f3, d5, e3, bishop e7. That was my opponent's move, but I did not like that one. In my opponent's place, I would have tried to go c5, hoping to get some immediate counterplay. Because bishop e7 is a little bit passive. Knight d2. This is actually my choice. I normally can build this hat formation in chess, but if given the option, I might even play c4. Therefore, I want to play knight d2 first, not determining just yet if I'm going to play c3 or c4. Castles, knight e5. And as I said before, I was inspired by Eric Rosen's play, and I felt, hey, this idea of taking that square on e5 is very interesting, as it prepares this maneuver of getting the queen to f3, h3, and eyeing the h-pawn. Notice that white has potentially three pieces eyeing the king side, while black only has these two pieces defending. c5, c3. After c5, c3, this is the most modern way of defending. Knight c6, bishop d3, queen b6, rook b1, just over defending my pawns. And black's next move, I think, is a little bit suspicious. Probably development would be better. But my opponent took on d4. He takes d4. And the reason I don't like this, because it gives me extra options of bringing my rook in the game via rook e1, rook e3, rook h3, and attacking the h-pawn. Bishop d7, and while I was looking at this position, I realized these pieces on a8, b6, c6, and d7 are completely misplaced. They're not quite ready to help out with an attack. So this should be the right moment to storm black's king. So I went for g4. And that is my main idea. I am trying to remove this guy on f6, and then I have a free target on h7, and that will be an easy target once my queen can join. Rook d8, g5. And here my opponent buckled under pressure, played knight d8. However, knight takes e5 would have been much more critical, although bishop takes e5 also gives an advantage for white. Knight d8, and originally I considered this idea of sacrificing, but the computer does not like it and believes that black can actually hold the draw by a miracle. Here white could go g6. Now f6 would of course run into checkmate in 2. But f takes g6, queen takes g6, bishop a4 is the only move. Knight f3, bishop f6, making sure that bishop doesn't cause any dangerous things. h4, preparing knight g5, bishop takes c5, knight takes c5. And here, the unbelievable move, knight d6, saves the day for black. As in case of rook g1, there's queen c7 defending the g-pawn. White has to take here, king h8, rook g1, rook e8, and in the nick of time, knight g6, king h7, knight f8 suddenly ends in a draw with king h8, knight g6, king h7, and a perpetuum mobile. Now, black cannot take that knight because there's a check here and queen g7 mate. However, white does not have to go and sacrifice the bishop. White can just go ahead and play h4. And in case of bishop c6, just pierce through with g6, f takes, h5, g5, h6, and with these two snipers firing down the board, even black plays g6, that doesn't help at all because I can sacrifice the bishop, and taking is taboo because then I can promote with the support of my bishop. and this is just completely winning for white. So here my opponent decided to go for knight e8, and after some consideration, I went for the typical Greek sacrifice. And that is actually kind of logical. Black would love to gain some time, or at least pluck the holes in the position, pluck and kind of block the view of this bishop. And after bishop h7, the only thing that black will not have is time. King takes h7, take, queen takes f7 here. And here I realized, even though I have an attack, it's not quite winning yet. Why? Because the queen alone will never deliver checkmate. So I realized, in that case, I should get the rook in, as rook g3, rook h3 would be a reversed back rank checkmate. Now here my opponent took on e5, bishop takes e5, and resigned because rook g3 and rook h3 is unstoppable. However, the big question was to me, what happens if knight d6? And in my calculation, I realized, got a beautiful, beautiful sacrifice here. g6 check, king h8, rook g3. Notice that these guys are not participating at all in the fight. Now, I am going to checkmate this black king with a lone knight, bishop, and rook. Knight takes f7, have to take, otherwise rook h3 is checkmate. Knight f7 check, rook h3. Typical mating pattern, but most of the time the king can run for it. Not here, because I have rook h8 and it's checkmate. So black has to give up the bishop. Rook h4, still mate on the board. If the king doesn't move, king f8. So here I have to stop this king from showing up to e7. Then I have bishop d6 check. If you go back, it's still rook h8. And if king e8, it's the same deal. But even if you block, that doesn't save you. There is rook h8 checkmate, as the knight is pinned and cannot move. So you can see how you can get inspired by playing Eric Rosen's ideas and attacking motifs. Here, the plan g4, g5 helped me out with the attack, and it did pretty much end really well with this beautiful, beautiful attack. So thank you so much for watching this lesson and lecture on my London game. And if you enjoyed it, please leave a like or comment below. I hope you have a good day and good night wherever you are. So with that, I'm signing off. Bye-bye.